Hey guys, welcome to Cajun Homestead, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about using a double screen board to help you increase your hive counts, to help you get small hives through the winter. But basically what I did right here in this situation is I had some very strong hives. Well, let me say, some of them were very strong, some of them might be weak. That's why I'm checking this one today, because this one's kind of weak. But basically what I did, I took an empty box, I pulled anywhere from 3 to 4 frames of brood from the bottom, and where this double screen board is at, I placed a queen excluder, and then I moved the brood up here, and then over a day or so the bees migrated up and to protect this brood here. So once I had enough nurse bees up here, I removed the queen excluder and placed the double screen board. So what that allows is it to separate the pheromones from this queen to whatever I'm going to do in this hive here. But it also allows the heat from this hive to help this smaller hive stay alive as far as chill brood or anything like that that might happen at night. And basically you can get away with having a smaller colony instead of it being out on a platform by itself trying to survive. It can use the heat from this larger colony to come up and help protect this one. Now, one thing it doesn't help at this time of the year, which we're kind of getting out of it because I've seen the numbers decrease, is the small hive beetles. You still have to protect these small hives from small hive beetles. Being over a double screen board doesn't help you out any at the only maybe upsides to that is you only have one small entrance where the hive beetles can come in, because they won't be able to migrate from this hive up through the screen to get to this hive because it's a very small screen that's on here. Now, what I'm going to do today, I picked this hive. I've done 15 of them, but I'm picking this hive because I noticed that after I installed the queen, I lost a lot of the field bees, because what will happen, your field bees or whatever bees are not nurse bees will fly out of this hive and go back to the original hive. So you're left with a small colony. And so I want to go in here, check to make sure the queen is still alive. She has been released, and she was doing okay. She had started to lay, but I want to check, and then if I have to, add some brood from another strong hive to this hive to help increase their numbers. So I'm going to open it up, check and see if I can find the queen, and then we're going to go look for a frame of brood and maybe some nurse bees. Okay, I opened up the hive, and as you can see, I only got 5 frames here, and there's not a lot of bees. I mean, the center where the brood is at has good breed, but what I wanted to show you is these are some of the things that I use to prevent the small hive beetles on small hive. I got 2 of these traps, and I also had one of these Swiffer sheets, and you can see where the beetles had clumped up in a ball on one corner of the frame, but it's catching them. So, and when I opened it up, I didn't see any running around. So let's try to find that queen. This is basically just a food frame. They got a lot of nectar, and this is some nectar they're bringing in from the fall float, because I haven't fed them yet. I can see some pollen they're starting to bring in, which is a good sign. Okay, I found my queen here. She was just released like a couple of days ago, so she hasn't swollen up to the proper size yet, but she has started to lay. The frame that I just pulled out, right now she's on a frame full of nectar, so she's not gonna find anywhere to lay. But she's just beginning to start the process, and with her just starting to lay, it's gonna be 3 weeks before, matter of fact, I'll show you. She has this frame laid up in a circle right here, and she's only laying to the size of the amount of bees she's got. And she has eggs right here in this circle. By the time that her brood starts to hatch, there's not gonna be hardly any bees up in here. These bees are gonna slowly die off. The bees that came up from there. So her population is only gonna go down, down, down. And also that's going to affect what nutrition gets fed to the larva that's growing up in here right now. So the less bees you have, the less nutrition is going to be coming in, and the less they're going to start cannibalizing some of that brood, because they're not going to be able to feed all that brood, and it's going to be a very small patch of brood. As I was saying, I hate GoPro. No, I wasn't saying that, but cuts off for no reason, heats up with hardly, it's not even hot today. But as I was saying, by the time her brood hatches out, what's going to happen, small hive beetles will take over, no matter how much preventative you try to do, because the fewer the bees, because these traps only work if the bees chase them into the traps. The Swiffer sheet will catch some, but the bees have to chase them to an area where they get caught in the Swiffer sheet. Now, when I went through this hive, I didn't see any beetles, so far it's a good job. Now, what I want to say, these queens that I got right here are Hawaiian queens. I ordered them maybe a week and a half ago. They came in, they're beautiful queens. I ordered 15. All 15 came in alive, and it's from the Hawaiian Queen Company. And like I said, let's backtrack a second. I want to tell you something else about we're using these double screen boards. When you bring that brood up, well, even before I brought the brood up, when I just had a queen excluder right here, this is a honey super that I left for the bees. This is their brood box. I pulled the brood from here, brought it up past this honey over queen excluder. Even that little bit of separation from brood and having honey between, they started making cells. And if you leave any cells in your hive that you install a new queen on, chances are they're gonna kill her. They rather go with that cell that they made than go with the new queen installed. And it did happen to me on one hive, because when I installed them, I went through the frames, knocked down all the emergency cells they made. But I missed one on a hive right over there. And when I checked to see if all the queens had been released, all her candy was eaten out, but she was dead inside the cage. They went inside the cage and killed her. And when I took the cage off and seen the queen dead in the cage, I knew something was up, because all the queens were very lively. Went through the hive and found 2 emergency cells. So that's going to be another video, because I got a queen that I'm going to have to install. I got a queen that I found on an abscond, and I'm going to install that queen into that hive, because I knocked those 2 emergency cells down because they were very small. And I didn't want to take the chance of waiting on that queen to come back and then be a dud of a queen. When those cells are very, very small, and when I cracked them open, very little raw jelly. So with that said, always go back and check for supersedure cells. I mean, I'm sorry, I keep saying supersedure. It's not, it's emergency cells. Even after I installed the queen into a cage, I left my cages plugged, because the lady that I bought the queens from Hawaii, she said for me to leave them in the hive at least 5 days before releasing them. So I was going to do a manual release on them, and there was 2 of them that had still made, anyhow the queens were in the cage and I had knocked down all the cells, they had still made cells. So I had to end up knocking those cells down in those 2 hives and going back, leaving them in there for 2 more days. So they stayed in there 7 days before I released them. And once I knocked those cells down, left them in there 2 more days, they went ahead and accepted the queens. But the 1 hive that I missed, they balled her, they killed her inside the cage. So if you get a chance to use a double screen board, go ahead and use one. It can help increase your hives. It can help keep your, if you got a small hive that you want to try to get through the winter, put them over a healthy hive, and just monitor them during these hot days, because if you're in an area with small hive beetles, they're gonna have to, that's the only thing that can hurt a small hive right now. If you got food in them and you got nutrition for them, the small hive beetles will kill a small hive. So just keep up with that. Check on them every couple of days to make sure hive beetles not moving in until they can get established. And in this case, I'm going to add brood to this and help them get established. But yeah, try them out. Okay guys, I found a nice frame. I went into another hive. I found my queen, so I'm 100% sure my queen is not on this frame. And what I did, I set this frame out to the side a little while, and I let all the field bees fly off of it. And what you can see now is just pretty calm, just nurse bees. So I'm gonna move a few little bees over, and I got some darker brood, which is fixing to start hatching out, so they're not gonna have to wait long before the population increases. And I'm just gonna go 1 frame in. My queen, I made sure she was on the other side. And as these bees integrate with the others, they shouldn't harm the queen. So I'm just going to drop them in. That's going to add an instant little boost to them. The fighting will be very minimum, if any. I've been able to add frames of brood to hives and not have any problem. So now we got some cap brood in there, and she's got 2 frames of where she laid eggs, and in 3 weeks we'll have bees off of that. And I'll keep checking up on them. Make sure that what I've given them is still enough to keep them up without succumbing to the small hive beetles. But as of right now, no small hive beetles. Alright guys, thanks for watching. And don't forget to hit that like button for me and share if you can. Thank you.